This year, the Evangelical Fellowship of Canada is launching a new emphasis on the well-being of children. Imagine a Canada where the church is mobilized to care for children who are lacking what others take for granted. Imagine the difference that we could make in the lives of children and their families, and in the lives of our communities in the name of Christ.
Perhaps you're here because you had an abortion you wish you never had. Perhaps you're here because you know someone who mourns the child they aborted. Perhaps you've seen the pictures, the videos, or the ultrasounds, and you just know. I'm here because before I was born, a doctor suggested that it would be best that I not live, that I be aborted. My mother chose life. She chose my life.
Being pro-life simply requires understanding that if a life is human after birth, it must be human before birth.
Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be the glorious name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
We will continue to work to promote the sanctity of human life. This past year, we have promoted Roxanne's Law, a bill that would make coercing abortion a crime in Canada.
As many of you know, on December 15th, 2010, 1/3 of Canadian members of Parliament voted in favor of Roxanne's Law. They stood with pregnant women who choose to give birth to their unborn children. However, Roxanne's Law was still defeated by a margin of 178 to 97. I know many of you stood with those MPs by raising your voices in support of Roxanne's Law. You wrote letters to members of Parliament, to newspapers, and on your blogs. You signed and circulated petitions. You participated in EFC's Canadian Women Support Roxanne's Law video campaign.
My name is Anita.
My name is Holly.
My name is Maureen.
My name's Andrea.
My name is Ruth.
I'm a public policy coordinator.
I'm a volunteer.
I'm a grandmother.
I'm a writer.
I'm a student.
I'm a Canadian woman.
I'm a Canadian woman.
I'm a Canadian woman. And I support Roxanne's Law.
And I
support
Roxanne's Law.
And I support Roxanne's Law.
You made a difference. Thank you. In the last few weeks, we ceased hearing the argument that Canadians do not support Roxanne's Law. We heard of and participated in several reasoned discussions with MPs about the merits of this bill. In fact, Member of Parliament Rod Bernouche, who introduced this bill, stated that his estimated votes in support of this bill was exceeded by 20 votes. Hearts and minds were won over in the last few weeks. We also saw members of Parliament from two political parties, the Conservatives and the Liberals, vote for the bill. We saw backbenchers and cabinet ministers alike vote for this bill. And perhaps most importantly, we have engaged a national discussion. Thank you again for your invaluable contributions. We will continue to raise our voices in support of Canada's most vulnerable citizens.
In caring for the vulnerable, we are encouraged to see a bill that we fought for passed, a bill that will limit human trafficking. And we're working with MPs in addressing homelessness and poverty in Canada.
We've all heard it said that prostitution is the world's oldest profession. Yet while the purchasing of women's bodies for sexual gratification has been going on for centuries, still today there remains a certain stigma attached to prostitution. It has never been promoted as a desirable or respectable line of work, and women in prostitution continue to be treated as second-class citizens, or worse. So maybe it's time to reframe our ages-old expression and stop fooling ourselves with references to the world's oldest profession, when what we're really talking about is the world's oldest oppression. And doesn't that change the way we approach the issue? Doesn't that change the way we view the women, boys, and girls who line our street corners and sidewalks, or whose faces we see advertised and peddled online? In what other circumstances have we agreed as a society that the appropriate response to oppression is to sit back and tolerate, or condone, or even worse, legitimize it, simply because it's the way it's always been? None. When we see oppression, we fight it. And this is a fight whose time has certainly come. It's time for a new approach, one that goes after the buyers and sellers of sex, not the women, the boys, and the girls who are being traded and treated like chattel. One that reflects a society that says, we will no longer tolerate the exploitation of some for the gratification of others. It's time for change.
In the era of religious freedom, we have seen the fruit of past legal interventions as we're able to cite the previous cases won to ensure religious freedom is respected in new areas of challenge.
As you can see, we're standing in front of the Supreme Court of Canada building in Ottawa. On Thursday, May the 18th, I'll be wearing my lawyer's robe and gowns as the Evangelical Fellowship of Canada enters the courtroom to stand up for religious freedom and parental rights. In this case, the government of Quebec developed a course called the Ethics and Religion Curriculum. In that course, they teach that all religions are basically the same, allowing no distinction for truth or falsehood. They also teach that ethics can be determined by conversation, allowing no foundation in absolute truth. The EFC is entering the courtroom to stand up for the right of parents to determine the religious education of their children in this country. It's our right, it's our freedom, it's our Canada, and they're our children.
This past year, we also hosted gatherings of church leaders to think through new strategies in church and mission as we face an increasingly secularized and pluralized society.
The Evangelical Fellowship of Canada will be holding a conference where we will be looking at the changes that are taking place in the way we understand and do church and mission. Why would you want to come to a conference like this? Well, perhaps the name Hinge would give you an idea as to how it could be helpful for you. Pastors and church leaders are finding huge transitions from traditional methods to a whole wide variety of ways of doing ministry. In other words, we are at a hinge moment in time. We need to be asking each other the question, what are we hearing from God that will help us to move forward? What do we have to leave behind? What do we need to rediscover? And what do we need to invent?
This coming year, be assured that we will continue to work in the areas of church and mission and in faith and public life as we bring the good news of the gospel and its implications for life and society to Canadian leaders and to local communities.